Late last night, the Justice Department released a heavily redacted document that played an important role in the decision not to charge former President Trump with obstruction of justice. Our John Yang explores.
Judy, the 9-page memo was sent to then Attorney General William Barr by the Justice Department's Office of Legal Counsel. That's the office that gives legal advice to government agencies. Barr said it was the basis for his conclusion that there was not enough evidence to establish that President Trump broke obstruction of justice laws. A watchdog group sued to make it public, and earlier this month, a judge said it must be released. Well, last night, the Justice Department released a heavily redacted version of it and said it would continue to fight in court to keep the rest of it secret. Noah Bookbinder is president and CEO of Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, also known as CREW. CREW is the group that sued for the memo's release. Mr. Bookbinder, thanks so much for joining us. Your group filed this suit literally the afternoon of Attorney General Barr's news conference. What does this struggle over this document, whether to keep it secret or not, what does this represent to you, sort of the larger implications of this struggle?
Absolutely. Well, what it looked like happened back when the Mueller report came out was that the Attorney General and the people at the Justice Department reporting to him, this was Bill Barr, set out not to do a real legal analysis of whether Donald Trump had obstructed justice, but rather to publicly defend Donald Trump and to make the case for why he hadn't done anything wrong. And that's why we wanted to see this memo that he said he relied on to make this announcement that there was no basis to say that Donald Trump had obstructed justice. And the Justice Department has fought for years to keep it from going public, I think in large part because it does show that there was a whitewashing to protect the then president.
What did we learn? We got a page and a half essentially last night. What did we learn in that page and a half?
Well, what we did learn is, and we really got two things. We got that page and a half, and then we got the full unredacted version of a federal judge's opinion talking about this document and about this case. And from those two things, we did learn that the Justice Department lawyers essentially said that what they were thinking about was not so much the legal analysis, but the case that could be made to the public. And so it really was starting to kind of blow the lid off of this and show that what we all thought was happening really was what was happening.
And Judge Amy Berman Jackson's ruling it does have some pretty strong language about the Justice Department. They said that she wrote that she looked at the unredacted memo and she wrote that DOJ, the Justice Department, has been disingenuous to this court with respect to the existence of a decision-making process that should be shielded by deliberative process privilege. In other words, she's saying here that this is not a decision-making process because the decision's already been made.
That's right. I mean, the way that she laid it out is the Justice Department was clear that they weren't going to prosecute Donald Trump. They believed their rules set out that you couldn't prosecute a sitting president. So essentially, this was sort of a PR document. This was, what should we say to the public? And for the Justice Department to come and say this was some kind of a deliberative, pre-decisional document is not really honest because there wasn't a legal decision being made. And we really had hoped that having gotten this just absolutely scathing decision from Judge Jackson, that the Justice Department would look at this and say, now is the time to really go for a clean slate and sort of admit that the department under Bill Barr had been dishonest, behaved badly, and now it's time to come clean, produce the document, and clean up the department and show that it's not going to be used for the protection of any president. And it's disappointing that instead they've chosen to continue fighting this case.
Noah Bookbinder, the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.